Hello, today we're going to be looking at the triangle inequality to determine three lengths, and we're also going to look at the angle-side relationship of the triangles. Now, first off, if we have three sides, 4, 5, and 10, can we make a triangle out of that? Well, if we tried and we put 5 centimeter side on one side, the 4 on the other, there's just not enough space in there to actually make a triangle. What about if it was 5 and 5? Well, if I put 5 here and 5 there, it would actually just form a straight line because 5 and 5 aren't enough to create any space in there. And that's not a triangle. So for a triangle, we need something like this, 7, 8, and 10. And because if you do so, there's going to be some room to spare to make a triangle. So the rule is that the two sides that are the smallest have to be larger than the third side. Now there's one other property here that I want to notice. The biggest angle here is always going to be across from the biggest side. The smallest angle is always across from the smallest side, and the medium to the medium. So we'll write down the two properties we just talked about. The first one is the triangle inequality theorem. The sum of any two sides of a triangle must be greater than the third side. So those two have to be greater than the biggest side. The side angle relationship just tells us that the shortest side is always opposite the smallest angle, and the longest side is always opposite the largest angle. And here, the big letters represent the points, which can also be used to describe the angle. The small letters are used to describe the segments. All right, so now if I want to find an acceptable value for AB, well, we know that it has to be less than 10 because this looks like it's the longest side. And if it is all the way down, it has to be greater than 3 because if it's greater than 3, if it's less than 3, 2 and 7 don't just add up to 9. So AB has to be somewhere between 3 and 10. Now if we take a look at this looks like it's obviously the biggest side. So it has to be bigger than 3. This is AC. But the largest it could be, if these were all straight out, the largest it could possibly be is 5. So we know that it's somewhere between 3 and 5. Now if it's like this, then we know 3 is the biggest side. So in a situation like this, it would be somewhere between 3, and if these were down, it has to be bigger than 1. So that's the acceptable range there. All right, hopefully that is enough to help you do your homework.